This is an instructional video on how to use the Greens report card that we built in our first class of our second year. The Greens report card was built so that we could monitor and assess the greens on our own golf courses in the summer, which is the time that we're at now. And now we can actually put this Greens report card to use. So an overview, this is the title page of the report card. I work at Crest Golf and Country Club, and there's a picture of the course here with the course name. So I know that I am in fact assessing the Crest greens, not one of the other courses from our group. So we'll look at a few of the components here. The major components of the report card. The most important one is the form which we input the data from, and I already have that open here. It's a link from here, and it's open in this tab up at the top. So it takes you to a regular Google form, and you'll put in the name of the person who's conducting the report, and you choose between we have 18 greens and then our putting green, which is our 19th green that you see there. So we'll just say 5, and so it's a 1 to 5 scale for all of the different factors or traits that you're looking at in your green. So the overall performance, light, air movement, entrance and exit points, size of green, cupping area, surface drainage, internal drainage, irrigation control and coverage, purity of turf sand, amount of play, water quality, experience and skill of maintenance crew, and you'll also put in the date. So I'll finish filling out this, and it'll be added to the other reports that have already been submitted for all of the greens on the course, and we can show you what it looks like afterwards. So we're back on the title page, and the form has been submitted. So the actual report card itself is the next page over here, and it may look a little bit confusing at first, but we'll explain what's going on here. So as you can see up at the top, the putting green all the way through to the 18th green are all listed here, and that 1 to 5 scale that was put in for all of these criteria is filled in for every green. So this information is drawn from the form responses, which is in turn drawn from, we have a separate tab for every single green that filters through these form responses. So these are just the immediate responses from the Google form. But if you click here on, for example, green number 1, you can see up here at the top that it filters from the form responses page and looks for specifically green number 1 and fills in here the responses. And it's these pages that the actual report card takes its information from. So if we scroll back here and go back to our actual report card page, we can kind of explain what sort of information you're seeing here. So when a green has good or excellent quality, more often than not, it does not require immediate attention, and it's more status quo as far as maintenance practices on that green. So what we've done is we've color coordinated poor green conditions, ranging from a 3 on that scale down to a 1, which needs immediate attention. So it just it gives you a visual of the state of your green. A lot of red is definitely bad, and ideally you want to get most of these colors off of your report card. But this is just an example right now. This isn't the actual condition of the greens at Ravencrest, but for the sake of this video, we've put in data. So in addition to just placing the data all in one easy to look at page, there's also some functions on this report card page, such as averaging the score, the average score for all the greens based on each criteria. So on this right-hand side here, the average is 2.85 amongst all 19 greens for the criteria of overall performance before testing. The reason that you would want to have this is because you can see, it's more of a side-by-side comparison. You can see which criteria might be the one that's affecting your course the most. In this case, the lowest score here is for the entrance and exit points. So you know what you need to focus on if you look at something like that. Additionally, there is the score for the green in total. So the putting green, based on all of the criteria, has an average score of 3.31. And this allows you to determine which of your greens is in the worst shape or the best shape. So if you're scrolling across the bottom here, there's a couple in the twos. 2.23 looks like it's the lowest. So number 3 and number 4 are both in pretty rough shape, which can give you an indication, especially if you can tell where these holes are on a map. It might give you an indication of some of the issues that you might have with that particular area of the course, especially if you're talking about the purity of the turf stand or something. You can have POA contamination or something like that in one specific area of the course where you might not have it in other areas over your property. Before you can actually start grading your greens, you need to know what that 1 through 5 scale actually represents. And we have a tab here for the rating description that will explain to you on your criteria 1 through 5 what all of this actually means. So, for example, the light column for criteria 5, that would be 8+ hours of light daily. For criteria 4, it's between 6 and 8, and if you're all the way down at 1, it's getting less than 2 hours of light daily, which is your worst case scenario for light on your greens. And there are similar descriptions for the criteria of all of these factors, like water quality and purity of the turf stand, etc. So, as described before, it would be beneficial to have a map of the course so that you can use the data and interpret the data properly based on the location on the course. For instance, the 3rd and 4th greens, which were in bad shape, are not necessarily near each other, especially if one of them's a par 5 going in one direction and the other one coming from another. And those greens can be quite far apart on the property. So we do have a map tab, which just has a layout of the course with all the holes labeled so that you can see what you're looking at and interpret that data properly. If you're looking for all the information in one location, then we have a tab here for the overall summary, and it lays it out a little bit more plainly from the putting green 1 through 18, and it also includes the course map. So this page basically sums up the entire objective of this greens report card, which is to have data, real data that you've taken from your own golf course, in a combination with a picture or a map of the course, so that you can actually visualize in a different way than just standing in front of your green what's actually going on, and you can see trends or similarities between greens that are in similar areas on the course, or even similarities between greens that are on completely opposite sides of the course. It just gives you another way to look at your issues and your good qualities on your golf course, and to assess it in a way that might be beneficial, or give you maybe different insight than what you could have just being physically on the golf course, which is, I mean, the main purpose of data in general. So that is most of what the Greens Report Card is all about. And this is the Raven Crest Golf and Country Club Greens Report Card.